The dream that I'm going to describe was dreamed in 1912. I would like to know how many of the details that I'm going to relate actually happened that night in that head centuries ago. I am convinced that many embellished the story. I promise to honestly tell everything I know. The dream begins in a realm of gods, a heavenly landscape reminiscent of Olympus. I have to say that these gods do not correspond to any from our reality. They seem to be nothing more than tricks of the imagination. One of them talks to himself, sitting on a beautiful granite bench surrounded by columns. Since his name is unknown, I will make use of the Hellenic aesthetic and call him Hermes. His monologue highlights divine tedium, the lack of adventure and excitement that comes with immortality. He says he is aware that some of his companions like to forget their status as gods and descend into the world of mortals. They enjoy and suffer the life of man, and when they die, their souls return to the heavens, and with them, their memories. They recount their exploits and torments, and boast about their bravery for choosing to forget that they are gods. But to Hermes, this is cowardice. The true risk is in the possibility of losing one's god nature while being aware of it. Hermes wants to show them the purest courage and decides to risk everything. He goes to his companions and explains the plan. He will go down to the world and be immortal. He will retain his memory, and only if he convinces men that he is a god will he regain his divinity. One of them, let's call him Ares, tries to dissuade him with no luck. As Hermes descends, Ares watches him, secretly admiring his determination. The dream hardly shows earthly experiences, but they are known anyway. Hermes fails in his attempts to convince a population tired of religions. He knows for the first time the fear of mortality, which leads him to seek his goals through lies, manipulation, and cruelty. He takes part in wars where he is cut and tortured. He tries to accumulate political and military power to persuade the world, but ends up imprisoned and then exiled on an island. He escapes from captivity and tries his luck in other latitudes. From the skies, Ares watches with concern. In his last years as a mortal, coincidence work a miracle, and the world begins to see Hermes as a god. Already an old man, he spends his last years on top of a palace, being a decadent replica of who he really is. Aware of his victory, all he has to do is wait for time to send him back to the heights. Upon his return, his companions await him. Hermes tells them about his adventures and the details that cannot be seen from above. The dream reminds us of its unpredictable nature and concludes the story with a twist that could be considered comical. After Hermes finishes his story and proclaims himself the bravest of the gods, Ares speaks. He acknowledges that his adventures in the mortal world are praiseworthy, but informs him that someone has taken an even greater risk and also emerged victorious. They remind Hermes of the time Ares tried to talk him out of his plan. His crazy idea was a cause of anguish, but also of inspiration, and Ares, moved by the courage and confidence of Hermes, went one step further. He would lose his status as a god and die in the land of men if Hermes does not return. He gambled everything on the impossible victory of a third party. He relinquished all control over his destiny, and he ended up winning. Thus ends the dream. When Napoleon Bonaparte woke up that morning, so many years ago, he made the decision. He understood from the dream that risk-taking is a trait of the gods and declared his intention to invade Russia. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story, and if you want to see more, please take a look at the other videos on my channel. Have a good day.